The two blondes, who seemed to be in their middle 30s, were preened and polished, their mature bodies softly molded within tight dark suits. They sat, legs crossed, perched on the high bar stools. They listened to the music. Then one of them pulled out a Kent, and Sinatra quickly placed his gold lighter under it, and she held his hand, looked at his fingers. They were nubby and raw, and the pinkies protruded, being so stiff from arthritis that he could barely bend them. He was, as usual, immaculately dressed. He wore an Oxford gray suit with a vest, a suit conservatively cut on the outside, but trimmed with flamboyant silk within. His shoes, British, seemed to be shined even on the bottom of the soles. He also wore, as everybody seemed to know, a remarkably convincing black hairpiece, one of 60 that he owns, most of them under the care of an inconspicuous little gray-haired lady who, holding his hair in a tiny satchel, follows him around whenever he performs. She earns $400 a week. The most distinguishing thing about Sinatra's face are his eyes, clear blue and alert, eyes that within seconds can go cold with anger or glow with affection, or, as now, reflect a vague detachment that keeps his friends silent and distant. Leo DeRocher, one of Sinatra's closest friends, was now shooting pool in the small room behind the bar. Standing near the door was Jim Mahoney, Sinatra's press agent, a somewhat chunky young man with a square jaw and narrow eyes, who would resemble a tough Irish plainclothesman if it were not for the expensive continental suits he wears, and his exquisite shoes often adorned with polished buckles. Also nearby was a big, broad-shouldered 200-pound actor named Brad Dexter, who seemed always to be thrusting out his chest so that his gut wouldn't show. Brad Dexter has appeared in several films and television shows, displaying fine talent as a character actor, but in Beverly Hills he is equally known for the role he played in Hawaii 2 years ago, when he swam a few hundred yards and risked his life to save Sinatra from drowning in a riptide. Since then, Dexter has been one of Sinatra's constant companions, and has been made a producer in Sinatra's film company. He occupies a plush office near Sinatra's executive suite, and is endlessly searching for literary properties that might be converted into starring roles for Sinatra. Whenever he's among strangers with Sinatra, he worries, because he knows that Sinatra brings out the best and worst in people. Some men will become aggressive, some women will become seductive, others will stand around skeptically appraising him. The scene will be somehow intoxicated by his mere presence, and maybe Sinatra himself, if feeling as badly as he was tonight, might become intolerant or tense. And then, headlines. So Brad Dexter tries to anticipate danger and warns Sinatra in advance. He confesses to feeling very protective of Sinatra, admitting in a recent moment of self-revelation, "I'd kill for him." While this statement may seem outlandishly dramatic, particularly when taken out of context, it nonetheless expresses a fierce fidelity that is quite common within Sinatra's special circle. It's a characteristic that Sinatra, without admission, seems to prefer. All the way, all, or nothing at all. This is the Sicilian in Sinatra. He permits his friends, if they wish to remain that, none of the easy Anglo-Saxon outs. But if they remain loyal, then there's nothing Sinatra will not do in turn. Fabulous gifts, personal kindnesses, encouragement when they're down, adulation when they're up. They are wise to remember, however, one thing. He's Sinatra, the boss, il padrone.